Don't Look challenge ends with a SPLH 90-day fiance. The other way pillow talk. You ever watch something that starts innocent and then absolutely collapses into chaos faster than Big Ed in a trust exercise? Yeah, that's exactly what happened in this week's Don't Look challenge on Pillow Talk. I swear, these cast members turn a cup of water into a full-blown emotional roller coaster, one splash at a time. So, the setup, simple. Don't laugh, don't make eye contact, hold water in your mouth. Easy, right? Except, not when anxiety, flirting, and unresolved tension are all sitting on the couch together like an awkward family reunion. Because the second they started, you could feel it. That kind of fake calm before the chaos. The shaky ladder, the stiff posture, the I'm not gonna look energy that never lasts. And boom, splash, someone breaks. And suddenly it's not just a game anymore, it's a psychological breakdown disguised as comedy. Let's be honest. Pillow Talk has always been about reading the room, while pretending you're not judging anyone. But this was straight up vulnerability wrapped in paper towels and bad decisions. I mean, when someone says, "You gave me anxiety," right after choking on water, you know it's real. You can't fake that kind of shared trauma. That's the kind of sentence that lives in your brain rent, free while you question every relationship choice you've ever made. And the splash wasn't even the funniest part. It was the aftermath. The chaos, the laugh that turned into nervous breakdown laughter, the "oh my god," that sounded half like panic, half like flirty confusion. I swear the energy was so weirdly electric it could power TLC's next 3 spin-offs. Now here's the thing most people miss. This scene wasn't just a silly water challenge. Oh no, it was an entire social experiment disguised as fun. Because what they're really testing is not your ability to hold water. It's your ability to hold secrets. Stay with me. Because this is where it gets deep. The Don't Look challenge isn't about water. It's about who cracks first under pressure, who breaks eye contact, who pretends to be calm while chaos bubbles under the surface. Sound familiar? That's literally every 90-day fiancé couple dynamic ever. It's symbolic. Every splash is an emotional leak. Every laugh is a nervous tell. Every smirk is a micro-confession. And in the middle of it, someone always ends up drenched. Not just in water, but in truth. And did anyone else catch how fast the tone shifted? 1 second, we're laughing. The next they're talking about accents, stress, pimples, and deep-seated relationship insecurities like they're swapping skincare tips. That's forbidden knowledge right there. The kind of honesty you only get when your defenses are down. See, when someone jokes about a Long Island accent being sexier, it's not just random humor, it's a distraction. A way to mask the fact that there's tension under the laughter. Because humor in this show is never just humor. It's emotional camouflage. And here's the real secret. Pillow Talk has always been less about commentary and more about emotional exposure therapy. You sit these people down, make them rewatch their trauma, and suddenly the accents get thicker, the jokes sharper, and the bottled up feelings come spilling out. Literally this time. It's brilliant in a cruel, reality TV way. Now, before we dive deeper, if you're watching this and you've ever held in your laughter, your feelings, or your truth, then you belong here. Seriously, hit that subscribe button right now, because we unpack this kind of emotional chaos every single week. Alright, let's get back to the breakdown. You notice how fast the Don't Look challenge turned into a therapy session? Like one moment it's don't laugh, and the next someone's admitting they're stressed, breaking out, and hiding behind accents. That's the power of proximity. You sit too close to the truth for too long, and it starts leaking through the cracks. And speaking of cracks, that pimple story, way deeper than skincare. When he said, "I'm so stressed it brought a massive pimple out of my nose," you could feel the exhaustion, the insecurity, the fact that even after all the drama, these people were still craving reassurance. But her response, oh, that's where it gets interesting. She can't wait to pop it for you. That's the moment the vibe changes. Because popping someone's pimple isn't just gross, it's intimate, it's control disguised as care. That's the kind of subtle forbidden knowledge that reality TV buries under laughter. The things we do for love that look sweet but mean something darker. And then, boom, they start talking about family, moving living situations, and suddenly, the Don't Look game has turned into a power play. Because the second he said, "Pump your brakes," you could hear the shift. He's joking, sure, but it's loaded. Every "oh" and "come on" hides a whole history of unsaid things. That's what makes this scene fascinating. It's chaos with clues. Every reaction tells a story. And this entire segment, from the water to the vegan fridge, is just one long metaphor for boundaries being tested and crossed in real time. Let's pause for a second. Be honest, if you were playing the Don't Look challenge with your ex or your partner, how long before someone breaks? 10 seconds? 5? Or would you just pretend to play while secretly staring them down like a final boss fight? Comment below. I need to know if I'm the only one who would lose immediately. Now, here's something the audience missed entirely. When they started talking about the vegan fridge and pig innards, the tone completely shifted again. It wasn't about food. It was about identity. Because for one of them, being vegan is moral. For the other, it's just weird. And right there TLC gave us a masterclass in micro-conflict. That fridge conversation wasn't filler. It was revelation. The clash between who we are and who we pretend to be for love. That's the hidden heartbeat of 90 Day Fiancé. It's never just about relationships. It's about cultural collisions, spiritual compromises, and learning how to laugh through existential dread while holding a cat named Greta. And that's why Pillow Talk works. It hides heartbreak in humor. You think you're watching a fun reaction show, but in reality, you're witnessing grown adults process emotional trauma in real time while trying not to spill water on the couch. Let's be real, the entire vegan fridge bit was loaded, because when someone says, "This is not a vegan fridge," they're not just talking about food. They're saying, "This space isn't built for me." That's the forbidden truth under all the jokes. The idea that love often asks us to live in rooms that don't fit us, and when the conversation turned to their parents' houses being small, that was another leak, a quiet acknowledgement of pressure, of wanting independence but being stuck in tight spaces, literally and emotionally. This whole thing was less about splashing water and more about splashing truth, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. But here's where the emotional chaos goes full circle, because once they start joking about pumpkin decor, accents, and Florida fall weather, it's not just playful banter anymore, it's emotional deflection in real time. When people start decorating pumpkins to avoid deeper conversations, you know something's simmering beneath the surface. Let's break that down. You've got two people trying to pretend everything's normal, talking about white pumpkins and fall vibes in Florida. That's already a red flag. Because when you're forcing fall in a tropical state, what you're really forcing is control. You can't change the season, but you can change your surroundings. It's symbolic. They're trying to create calm where chaos lives rent-free. And then, that line, because it's cold weather. Pause. Florida, cold weather. That's not a slip-up. That's escapism. That's someone who wants to believe they're living somewhere. Emotionally, that makes sense when they're not. The king of the reef. Comment, that's ego camouflage. The kind of bravado that covers discomfort. Every little joke, every side eye, every sarcastic appreciated, all of it hides tiny fractures. Reality TV gold, yes, but also psychological warfare disguised as flirting. Then suddenly you get hit with that bizarre booger moment, and normally, we'd laugh it off. But when you really look at it, it's about control and vulnerability. Because on this show, embarrassment is a test. The second someone teases you publicly, you reveal how safe you feel with them. That's why moments like these hit harder than you think. They're relationship diagnostics hidden in humor. And then, boom, the tone flips again. We're suddenly at the airport, emotional music in the background, and you realize the splash wasn't just physical. The emotional splashback is still happening. The energy shifts from laughter to heartbreak in a single scene cut. You see luggage piled up, tears forming, family reuniting, and suddenly every ounce of that playful, don't look, game feels like a defense mechanism, because under every joke, these people are terrified. Terrified of change, of starting over, of becoming a stranger in their own life. When she said, "It's not easy, but I'm confident we'll get through it together," I felt that. That's not confidence. That's hope disguised as certainty. And the saddest part, she's not trying to convince him. She's trying to convince herself. Now, here's the forbidden knowledge most viewers miss. When people cry after long flights, it's not just exhaustion, it's emotional decompression. That moment when you land and realize all the mental walls you built up midair can't survive gravity. It's the body's way of saying, "You're home, but not really." And her saying, "It took me 10 years to find myself. Am I gonna lose myself again?" That's the truth bomb TLC sneaks in under layers of humor. That's the line that breaks through the noise. Because deep down, that's every 90-day fiancé story ever told. People trying to love without disappearing. You ever notice how this show starts as a love story and ends as a personality test? Every airport reunion, every awkward hug, every forced smile. It's all coded messages. She's not just worried about moving in. She's worried about shrinking back into someone she used to be. That's what makes this moment heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. And her partner's response. "You just gotta be yourself." That's classic. The advice that sounds comforting but misses the weight of what she's saying. Because being yourself isn't easy when love asks you to edit your identity for someone else's comfort. Now let's zoom out. What started as a funny water challenge has somehow morphed into an existential deep dive into love, fear, and identity. That's why I always say, 90 Day Fiancé isn't reality TV, it's emotional archaeology. You dig, and you find the stuff they didn't mean to show. But here's my theory, and brace yourself, because this one might sting. The reason the "don't look" challenge even works is because the cast is used to not looking. They've mastered avoidance. They've learned to smile, to joke, to sip water instead of speaking truth. So when they finally do make eye contact, even for a second, everything unravels. That's the real challenge. Think about it. How many of us play our own version of that game every day, pretending not to notice tension, swallowing our feelings, laughing instead of crying? Pillow Talk just made it literal. If you're watching this right now, I want to ask you something. Be honest. Are you the kind of person who cracks first, or the one who keeps the water in your mouth until everyone else gives up? Drop your answer in the comments. Because the truth is, how we react to laughter says more about us than how we react to pain. And before someone calls me dramatic, yeah, I know I'm overanalyzing a water challenge. But that's the fun part. That's what makes Breakdown epic. Well, epic. We don't just watch, we decode. We hunt for emotional Easter eggs hidden under chaos and cat memes. Speaking of cats, Greta the cat lady moment. Iconic. You can't tell me that cat doesn't understand the assignment. The way they keep referencing her like she's part of the cast. That's TLC's secret weapon, emotional projection. They use pets as emotional mirrors. You think you're laughing at the humans, but subconsciously, you're empathizing with the cat. Genius. And that vegan butchery story. Another hidden gem. It's not about diet, it's about lineage. It's generational guilt versus moral evolution. The dad's a butcher, the son's vegan. That's literally the cycle of rebellion playing out on national television. It's Shakespeare in sweatpants. But the line that hit me hardest. My dad might have been upset that his son is gay, but his dad must be upset his son doesn't eat meat. That's raw honesty dressed as humor. A one-liner that carries a century of emotional inheritance. And TLC just lets it sit there unedited because that's real. That's the secret of this show. They don't need explosions or plot twists. The tension is already baked in. It's in every conversation about food accents, parents, and space in the fridge. The "don't look" challenge was just the spark that set off an emotional wildfire. And if you look closely, by the end, everyone's exhausted. Not from laughter, but from emotional exposure. You can only hide behind humor for so long before the truth starts dripping out, one splash at a time. That's the beauty of this episode. It's chaos pretending to be comedy. It's people confronting themselves through the safest medium possible, laughter. Because sometimes, the only way to say, "I'm scared," is to make a joke while spitting out water. And honestly, that's why we love them. That's why this show works. Because it mirrors us. The anxious laughter, the weird banter, the pretending everything's fine, while your life's an emotional slip and slide. We've all been there. So yeah, the "don't look" challenge might have ended with a splash, but the real impact is in the silence afterward. When everyone's laughing but nobody's really talking. When the game ends, and you realize it wasn't about who looked first, it was about who felt too much. Now before we wrap, here's a little poll moment. If you had to play this challenge with one 90-day fiancé couple, who would it be? Big Ed and Liz, Jasmine and Gino, or maybe you're chaotic enough to pick Angela and Michael, in which case you deserve a medal and therapy. Comment your pick below. I'm dying to see who's brave enough to say Angela. And to the one person about to type, Sophia, you're reading too deep into a water fight. Yeah, I know. But tell me you didn't feel something when she said she's scared of losing herself again. Tell me that didn't hit somewhere soft, because that's what great reality TV does. It tricks us into laughing at pain until we recognize it in ourselves. And that, my friend, is the real forbidden knowledge. That behind every splash, every joke, every cat cameo, someone's trying not to cry. So next time you see it, "don't look" challenge, remember, it's never just about who laughs first. It's about who's still brave enough to keep looking when things get real. And that's why you'll find me here, week after week, breaking it all down. Because on this channel, we don't just react, we decode reality. If you're still here, you're part of the Breakdown Epic family now. So go ahead, comment your theories, drop a heart for Greta the cat, and tell me, would you survive the "don't look" challenge? Or would you be the first to splash out? Either way, don't look away. Because next week, I'm uncovering a pillow talk secret that TLC definitely didn't want you to notice. And trust me, it changes everything. See you in the next one. I'm Sophia and this was your Breakdown Epic.